It all feels backwards, doesn't it? Like Bizarro World, where up is down, left is right, and the rioters at the Capitol on January 6th somehow deserve protection from having their faces seen in footage from that day. We told you earlier in the week about House Speaker Mike Johnson's decision to scrub through U.S. Capitol security footage in order to blur out the faces of those who participated in the riot ahead of the video's public release. As if that wasn't backwards or ridiculous enough on its face, listen to the way Johnson's allies are now explaining why. Here's Republican Congressman Barry Loudermilk speaking to the right-wing network OAN.
We also want to protect the privacy of certain individuals, especially those who are innocent, who may have been here at the Capitol. They didn't do anything wrong. There are insurrection hunters out there that want to go and like, for instance, one of the people that visited my office was in this room right here on January 5th, did absolutely nothing wrong. But the January 6th committee let his name out, and he got fired from a job, even though he didn't do anything wrong. So there are people out there that if you were here in January 6th, in their mind, you're guilty of something. So we want to protect innocent people.
Word innocent, really doing a lot of work there. Not to mention, if Congressman Loudermilk was so concerned with protecting innocent people, perhaps he should have come to the defense of Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss, innocent election workers in his own state of Georgia, when they, like others, were viciously and unfairly smeared for crimes they did not commit. But no, for Loudermilk and his Republican colleagues, it seems the January 6th rioters are the ones who deserve protection. Joining our conversation, NBC News Justice reporter Ryan Riley. He literally wrote the book on tracking down the Capitol rioters. His book, Sedition Hunters, How January 6th Broke the Justice System. Tim, Michael, and Basil are also all back. Ryan Riley, I'm going to start with you. Loudermilk mentioned online sleuths in his reasoning for blurring faces. In your book, you write, quote, "I've covered the Justice Department for more than a decade, and I talked to FBI informants before, but none of them hold a candle to the impact the sedition hunters have had. Working out of their home offices, from their couches, kitchen tables, bedrooms, garages, and, in one case, the sleeper cab of their semi-truck, this group of anonymous Americans has been working to hold the FBI's feet to the fire to make sure these cases don't get buried. January 6th was a pivot point for American democracy. It was also a pivot point for the FBI and law enforcement, which were caught flat-footed despite all the warning signs flashing online ahead of January 6th. And we're left playing catch-up with open-source researchers moving at internet speed. Ryan, tell us a bit more about the sedition hunters, why they were so vital in the effort to deal justice after 1/6.
Yeah, Barry Loudermilk keeps sort of botching the names a little bit there. It's not the insurrection hunters, it's the sedition hunters. But they've really had this enormous impact on the FBI's investigation and are really moving this all forward. They're just really better at organizing a lot of this behind the scenes than the FBI is, which is dealing with all of these different silos and different field offices across the country. You know, really the way that the FBI puts together cases is really based on paperwork. And this is not really a paperwork investigation. This is an investigation that is really all about photos and all about videos and getting that raw data and organizing it in ways that make it easy to track someone throughout their movements as they, enter the Capitol. And I think even though they're blurring this footage, just even putting out any more footage will continue to aid this investigation, because frankly, the best photos that the sedition hunters are using are usually the ones that were taken perhaps outside the Capitol when someone wasn't as careful about covering their face. So that raw closed circuit camera footage from the Capitol can still be used to track people because they just look at the item of clothing and then they connect that to someone earlier in the day. But it really is just sort of throwing, I think, some sand in the gears here because the sleuths have been so effective at this. And sometimes I think have put the FBI to shame in terms of their underlying investigation here.
Basil, to this question of blurred faces, it was part of Nicole's conversation with Liz Cheney this week. Take a listen.
I think it's a really important point because I think that the way that we defeat this threat is through the truth and through making sure that people remember, as you said, the violent attack on our police officers that day, the violence of that assault. And so, for example, Mike Johnson has continued to claim that he's for transparency, that he's releasing the videos from that day. He ought to release them. He really, I don't know what he's waiting for. I don't know.
He's waiting to blur the faces.
right? And
she
look,
said
I
it's
think,
time-consuming.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing to note is the Department of Justice has already got all of these videos.
Right.
But I think it's really important because what he's doing is actually he's released a very small amount, and he is suggesting, every day that goes by, this suggestion that somehow he's going to release something that will change what happened that day, that will change the facts. And there is nothing that will change that violent assault.
Nothing changes the facts.
Not at all. And it goes back to what I was saying earlier. I don't know if Trump ordered the members of Congress to blur these faces, but that's the power that he has, that even if he doesn't speak it from his lips, that there are individuals that are taking these great lengths to be able to protect people who support and protect Donald Trump. And that is incredibly scary, because you're absolutely right saying at the top, where was the protection for the election workers in Georgia? Where is the protection for the governor of Michigan, the Secretary of State of Michigan, whose lives have been threatened? And I also do think about this in terms of race. I was one of 1 million black men on the Mall in 1995 in the Million Men March. Not one of us stormed the Capitol. In fact, we cleaned up after ourselves. If any one of us had ever done anything coming close to what those insurrectionists have done, I would not be here on this at this desk with you today. But the fact that you have individuals who are supporting Donald Trump, who have like-minded support and colleagues in Congress that are keen on protecting them, it doesn't really speak to what happens if Donald Trump becomes president. It really speaks to who we are as a country today, whether he's president or not. That this is something that members of Congress are willing to do to protect folks who are trying to overthrow the government.